Hello and welcome to this third First Look exploring session looking at Cynthia's Revels by Ben Jonson, performed by the children of the Chapel Royal at Blackfriars around 1600. This is a session going from midway through Act 4. It's our third session. We're into Act 4, Scene 3, depending on which version you're looking at. We're going from a sort of maximalist scene numbering system whereby any major entrance or exit is marked with a scene, even though basically each individual act is one constant ongoing scene set in pretty much one place. And yes, to continue our journey, we've got quite a lot of characters between us. I may or may not put a dog on my head when I'm playing a different character, because even I'm reading characters as well as stage directions. So yeah, this could get a bit chaotic. Hold on to your hats and or dogs as we go. Reading today, Phantaste, Cos and Morphides. Morphides is
Sarah Blake, actor, writer and director based in Germany.
Reading Hedon, Freitas and Citizen's Wife is
Alexandra, and I'm somewhere very noisy.
Reading Amorphus today is
Briony, Sparrow, and I'm in Lincolnshire.
Reading Argurion, Prosaites and Tailor is...
Hi, I'm Lynn, and this is Scooter. We are in the northwestern United States.
Yay. Reading Mercury, Morus and Gelaia is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and so this is the third session, and it's Act 4, Scene 3. Okay, yeah, that's not confusing at all.
No, it's very, very straightforward. Luckily, we have got a play where the scenes and the act numbers do follow sequentially. Sometimes we've had scripts where that hasn't happened. Reading Cupid and the Mines of Moria is...
It's me, it's Alan, I'm in Suffolk, and I'm still running away from the Balrog.
And reading Philautia, Arete and Citizen is...
Hello, Dan, actor based in Montpellier, France.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I normally would just be reading stage directions, but because we're a bit tight for numbers, I'm also reading Anaides and Asotus. Hopefully that'll work and won't be a disaster. We shall see. So, without further ado, let's dive into the action. Act 4, Scene 3. The court is all on, pretty much. We've got a mass chorus of people. They're not chorus, they're just people, including Hedon and Anaides, Phantaste, Philautia, Argurion, Moria, and also Cupid and Mercury, who are disguised as pages, as you do. Enter to this Amorphus and Asotus.
That was your father's love, the nymph Argurion. I would have you direct all your courtship thither. If you could but endear yourself to her affection, you were eternally engallanted.
Oh, in truth, sir, faith Phoebus, I prove favoursome in her fair eyes.
All divine mixture and increase of beauty to this bright bevy of ladies, and to the male courtiers, compliment and courtesy.
In the behalf of the males, I gratify you, Amorphous.
And I of the females.
Succinctly returned. I do vail to both your thanks and kiss them, but primarily to yours, most ingenious, acute, and polite lady.
God's my life, how he does all to disqualify her. Ingenious, acute, and polite, as if there was not others in place as ingenious, acute, and polite as she.
Yes, but you must know, lady, he cannot speak out of a dictionary method.
Sit down, sweet Amorphous. When will this water come, think you?
It cannot now be long, fair lady.
Observe, Mercury.
How most ambiguous beauty, love you, that will I, by this handkerchief.
Slid, he draws his oaths out of his pocket.
Will you be constant?
Constant, madam, I will not say for constantness, but by this purse, which I would be loath to swear by, unless it were embroidered, I protest more than most fair lady. You are the only absolute and unparalleled creature I do adore and admire and respect and reverence in this court, corner of the world, or kingdom. Methinks you are melancholy.
Does your heart speak all this?
Say you?
Oh, he's groping for another oath.
Now by this watch, I marl how forward the day is. I do unfeignedly avow myself, slight 'tis deeper than I took it, past 5. Yours entirely addicted, madam.
I require no more, dearest Asotus. Henceforth let me call you mine, and in remembrance of me, vouchsafe to wear this chain and this diamond.
Oh, Lord, sweet lady.
There are new oaths for him. What? Does Hermes taste no alteration in all this?
Yes, thou hast struck Argurion enamoured on Asotus, methinks.
Alas, no. I am nobody. I can do nothing in this disguise.
But thou hast not wounded any of the rest, Cupid.
Not yet. It's enough that I've begun so prosperously.
Nay, these are nothing to the gems I will hourly bestow upon thee. Be but faithful and kind to me, and I will lade thee with my richest bounties. Behold here my bracelets from mine arms.
Oh, not so, good lady, by this diamond.
Take them, my jewels, chains of pearl, pendants, all I have.
Oh, nay then, but by this pearl you make me a wanton.
Shall not she answer this, to maintain him in swearing?
Oh no, there's a way to wean him from this. The gentleman may be reclaimed.
Aye, if you had the airing of his apparel cost, I think.
Loving 'twere, and pity I should be loving else, believe me. Save you, sir, save you, sweet lady, save you, Monsieur Anaides, save you, dear madam. Dost thou know him that saluted thee, Hedon?
No, some idle fugoso that hath got above the cupboard since yesterday.
Slut, I never saw him till this morning, and he salutes me as familiarly as we had known together since the deluge or the first year of Troy action.
A most right-handed and auspicious encounter. Confine yourself to your fortunes.
For God's sake, let's have some riddles or purposes.
No, Faith, your prophecies are best, but t'other are stale.
Prophecies? We cannot all sit in at them. We shall make a confusion. Now, what called you that we had in the forenoon?
Substantives and adjectives, is it not, Hedon?
Aye, that. Who begins?
I have thought. Speak your adjectives, sirs.
But do not you change then.
Not I. Who says?
Odiferous.
Popular.
Humble.
White-livered.
Barbarous.
Pythagorical.
Yours, Signor.
What must I do, sir?
Give forth your adjective with the rest as prosperous, good, fair, sweet, well.
Anything that hath not been spoken.
Yes, sir. Well spoken shall be mine.
What? Have you all done?
Aye.
Aye.
Then the substantive is breeches. Why, odiferous breeches, guardian?
Odiferous, because odiferous. That which contains most variety of savour and smell, we say is most odiferous. Now, breeches, I presume, are incident to that variety, and therefore odiferous breeches.
Well, we must take it howsoever. Who's next? Philautia?
Popular.
Why, popular breeches.
Marry, that is, when they are not content to be generally noted in court, but will press forth on common stages and broker stalls to the public view of the world.
Good. Why, humble breeches, Argurion?
Humble, because they used to be sat upon. Besides, if you tie them not up, their properties fall down about your heels.
He has worn the breeches, it seems, would have done so.
But why white-livered?
Why are not their linings white? Besides, when they come in swaggering company, will pocket up anything. May they not be properly said to be white-livered?
Oh, yes, we must not deny it. And why barbarous, Hedon?
Barbarous. Because commonly, when you have worn your breeches sufficiently, you give them to your barber.
That's good, but how Pythagorical?
I, Amorphus, why Pythagorical breeches?
Oh, most kindly of all, 'tis a conceit of that fortune I am bold to hug my brain for.
How is it, exquisite Amorphus?
Oh, I am rapt with it. 'Tis so fit, so proper, so happy.
Nay, do not rack us thus.
I never truly relished myself before. Give me your ears, breeches Pythagorical, by reason of their transmigration to several shapes.
Most rare in sweet troth. Harry, this young gentleman, for his well-spoken.
Aye. Why, well-spoken, breeches.
Well spoken? Marry, well spoken because whatsoever they speak is well taken, and whatsoever is well taken is well spoken.
Excellent! Believe me.
Not so, ladies, neither.
But why breeches now?
Breeches, quasi bare riches, when a gallant bears all his riches in his breeches.
Most fortunately etymologized.
Nay, we have another sport afore this, of a thing done, and who did it, etc.
Aye, good Phantaste, let's have that. Distribute the places.
Why? I imagine a thing done, Hedon thinks who did it, Moria with what it was done, Anaides where it was done, Argurion when it was done, Amorphus for what cause it was done, you, Philautia, what followed upon the doing of it, and this gentleman who would have done it better. What? Is it conceived about?
Yes.
Yes.
Then speak you, sir. Who would have done it better?
How? Does it begin with me?
Yes, sir. This play is called The Crab. It goes backward.
May I not name myself?
If you please, sir, and dare abide the venture of it.
Then I would have done it better, whatever it is.
No doubt on it, sir. Good confidence. What followed upon the act, Philautia?
A few heat drops and a month's mirth.
For what cause, Amorphus?
For the delight of ladies.
When, Argurion?
Last progress.
Where, Anaides?
Why, in a pair of pained slops.
With what, Moria?
With a glister.
Who, Hedon?
A traveller.
Then the thing done was, an oration was made. Rehearse. An oration was made.
By a traveller.
With a glister.
In a pair of pained slops.
Lost progress.
For the delight of ladies.
A few heat drops and a month's mirth followed.
And this silent gentleman would have done it better.
Oh, this was not so good now.
In good faith, sir. These unhappy pages would be whipped for staying thus.
Beshrew my hand and my heart else.
I do wonder at their protraction.
Pray Venus, my whore have not discovered herself in the rascally boys, and that be the cause of their stay. I must suit myself with another page. This idle Prosaites would never be brought to wait well.
Sir, I have a kinsman I could willingly wish to your service, if you will deign to accept of him.
And I shall be glad, most sweet lady, to embrace him. Where is he?
I can fetch him, sir. I'll be loath to make you turn away your other page.
Oh, you shall not, most sufficient lady. I will keep both. Pray, let's go see him.
Whither goes my love?
Oh, I'll return presently. But I go but to see a page with this lady. And exit Asotus and Moria, let us all just breathe and relax. Nothing more terrifying than someone suggesting, hey, let's play party games! Oh my god, it's just as awful as at Christmas. And it's like just going around the room and everybody knows how to play the game except you. I mean, I found that really stressful because I was the one who didn't know how to play the game and was just totally lost and was terrified all the time. And I found that was really stressful. Lynn.
So, I mean, I don't know how funny this would come off on stage, but it tickled me because, like, they're playing Mad Libs, basically.
Yeah.
So, as a word nerd, that just, guess I was a little bit delighted by that.
Yeah, it's nothing worse than the person who explains all the rules really, really quickly and then then says, "Everyone understand? Good, right, move on." I was just like, "What? Sorry?" Yeah, it felt very true to life. That weirdly. I'm glad there wasn't a board game or actual rules brought out. It was just that kind of Karoulla game because in those days you didn't have that much entertainment. You had to make it yourself. Even at court, Alexandra.
We say that, but at the same time, we're in the chat. We're referring to currently existing board games and party games and things. So I think you're right, Rob, in that there's a very contemporary resonance here, both in the sense of being the one person who doesn't know the rules, and the embarrassment of party games, and also in the game itself. I think actually it's likely to, done well, this could actually resonate really nicely with an audience.
Yeah. Eric?
I'm kind of imagining that, like, before this, they were playing D&D, but, like, Asotus did not know the rules either, so he was just making shit up, sort of, that did not fit in with, the story.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly just not going. But that said, even Amorphus plays for time to figure out his answer at one point. It's like going, my answer's so good. It's it's amazing. It's got one. So it's this playing for time moment. You can imagine that there's someone there with a timer going, you should have said it by now. Oh, you can't let him off. It's just yeah. Other thoughts? Games. Character stuff. Asotus just continuing to be totally out of place. Trying to do his wooing. Weirdly, it works. I mean, I was sort of playing it like it was supposed to be a bit rubbish and sort of cue-cardy, which is sort of what we had in the earlier scene. But actually, no, it seemed he was pushing an open door there, thanks to Cupid. Not mischievous Cupid. And now we have a business to get him off stage, presumably to collapse into a puddle of sweat, with all this alternative page business. Any other thoughts before we move on? Because we're still mid-scene, lots going on. We entered mid-scene, to be fair. Eric?
Some of the wordplay does seem labored, but like not in the sort of what's it called, like, not intending to be funny, but like sort of intending to be, this is how actual courtiers behave kind of way. Like, but why breeches? And sort of like, because courtiers bear riches in their breeches and all that stuff. And it's like, that's not even a good pun. Come on. But it kind of shows if you feel like it shows the level of sort of conversation that these people usually have.
Alexandra?
I think it would take a lot of work, but would be really amazing if it worked out well, as in a lot of work and rehearsal, to very clearly contour the other characters, because we know exactly what's going on with Asotus, but everyone else is just the mass of everyone else. Whereas if this were used as an opportunity for us to really kind of much more clearly sketch or have these kind of clear indications of what these people are like, I think that would be, really nice.
Yeah, I mean, some of them, some of the word choices that they make really do match their characters, and some of them are sort of the complete opposite. So there's some interesting things going on there, and of course, people trying to be funny. The words breeches. Oh God, kill them all! Line them up against a wall, and no. Anyway, Lynn.
This scene, I think it could function the way Alexandra's thinking, and we have to remember, like, on stage, everyone would look a little different. So if you had different voices and different costumes and different physical appearances. Maybe one person's really tall and one person's really small, and people are, different complexions and so on. So their visual differences would help to differentiate them on stage, rather than being just sort of a bunch of shallow, annoying courtiers. And that would help make it more interesting. And
the thing is, when we're talking about humor in this scene, the it's that sort of thing, is that the scene doesn't necessarily have to be funny. It's about this. It's actually, I think this is more cringe. That's certainly how I was feeling, that sort of painfulness of the situation. Oh my God, please. And feeling for Asotus, who is the closest thing we've got to of a character that we sort of identify with in this play. Because he's sort of, yes, he's aspiring to be with these people, but he's so out of his depth that one does feel for him. And they're so mean to him as well. And I don't think necessarily because of the language sort of gap that we're quite getting when they're being quite as horrible to him as some of them should be, which I suspect is going on here. Eric?
Well, also you kind of feel that, like, although the others know the rules of like that, making stuff up game, Phantaste also kind of wants to torture him a bit when she goes, "Oh, you first." It's like, yeah, how me first? Yeah, it's called the crab. We play it backwards. This is how it works, and she's kind of making up rules on the spot as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's not a rule. That's clearly not a rule. That is clearly just thinking. He's sitting there thinking, "Oh, I'm last. I'll have time to think of an answer." And you first. What? Poor sap. Anyway, we must go on. So Asotus and Moria have exited to see a page. The rest of the people are still on, and obviously Asotus is probably quite relieved to have left, but Anaides is still on, so the dog comes out. As sure as fate, 'tis so, she has opened all. A pox of all her cockatrices. Damn me, if she had played loose with me, I'll cut her throat within a hair's breadth, so it may be healed again.
What? Is he jealous of his hermaphrodite?
Oh, aye, this will be excellent sport.
Phantaste, Argurion. Well, you are suddenly struck, methinks. For love's sake, let's have some music till they come. Ambition, reach the lyra, I pray you.
Anything to which my honor shall direct me.
Come, Amorphus, cheer up, Phantaste.
It shall be my pride, fair lady, to attempt all that is in my power. But here is an instrument that alone is able to infuse soul into the most melancholic and dull-disposed creature upon earth. Oh, let me kiss thy fair knees. Beauteous ears attend it.
Will you have the kiss, honor?
Aye, good ambition.
And yes, this is a boys' company show, so there's lots of singing. You don't have to sing, but this is a song.
Oh, that joy so soon should waste, or so sweet a bliss as a kiss might not forever last. So sugared, so melting, so soft, so delicious, the dew that lies on roses when the morn herself discloses is not so precious. Oh, rather that I would smother, were I to taste such another. It should be my wishing that I might die with kissing. I made this ditty and the note to it upon a kiss that my honor gave me. How like you, sir?
A pretty air. In general, I like it well, but in particular, your long die note did aride me most, but it was somewhat too long. I can show you one almost of the same nature, but much before it, and not so long, in a composition of mine own. I think I have both the note and ditty about me.
Pray you, sir? See.
Yes, there is the note, and all the parts, if I misthink not. I will read the ditty to your beauties here, but first I am to make you familiar with the occasion, which presents itself thus. Upon a time, going to take my leave of the emperor and kiss his great hands, there being then present the kings of France and Aragon, the dukes of Savoy, Florence, Orleans, Bourbon, Brunswick, the Landgrave, Count Palatine, all which had severally feasted me, besides infinite more of inferior persons as counts and others, it was my chance, the emperor detained by some exorbitant affair, to wait him the 5th part of an hour, or much near it. in which time, retiring myself into a bay window, the beauteous Lady Annabel, niece to the Empress and sister to the King of Aragon, who, having never before eyed me, but only heard the common report of my virtue, learning, and travel, fell into that extremity of passion for my love, that she there immediately swooned. Physicians were sent for, she had to her chamber, so to her bed, where, languishing some few days, after many times calling upon me with my name in her lips, she expired. As that, I must mourningly say, is the only fault of my fortune, that, as it hath ever been my hap to be sued to by all ladies and beauties, where I have come, so I never yet sojourned or rested in that place or part of the world where some high-born, admirable, fair feature died not for my love.
Oh, the sweet power of travel. Are you guilty of this, Cupid?
No, Mercury, and that his page Cos knows, if he were here present to be sworn.
Well, how doth this draw the ditty, sir?
Oh, she's too quick with him. He hath not devised that yet.
Marry, some hour before she departed, she bequeathed to me this glove, which golden legacy the Emperor himself took care to send after me in 6 coaches, covered all with black velvet, attended by the state of his empire, all which he freely presented me with, and I reciprocally, out of the same bounty, gave to the lords that brought it, only reserving the gift of the deceased lady, upon which I composed this ode, and set it to my most affected instrument, the lyre. Thou more than most sweet glove, unto my more sweet love, suffer me to store with kisses this empty lodging that now misses the pure rosy hand that wear thee, whiter than the kid that bare thee. Thou art soft, but that was softer, Cupid's self hath kissed it ofter than e'er he did his mother's doves, supposing her the queen of loves. That was thy mistress, best of gloves.
Blasphemy, blasphemy, Cupid.
I'll revenge it in time enough, Hermes.
Good Amorphus, let's hear it sung.
I care not to admit that, since it pleaseth Philautia to request it.
Yes, sir.
Nay, play it, I pray you. You do well, you do well. How like you it, sir?
Very well, in troth.
But very well. Oh, you are a mere mammoth rept in judgment, then. Why, do not observe how excellently the ditty is affected in every place? That I do not marry a word of short quantity to a long note, nor an ascending syllable to a descending tone. Besides, upon the word best there, you see how I do enter with an old minim and drive it through the brief, which no intelligent musician I know but will affirm to be very rare, extraordinary, and pleasing.
And yet not fit to lament the death of a lady for all this.
Chut, here be they will swallow anything.
Pray you, let me have a copy of it, Amorphus.
And me too. In troth, I like it exceedingly.
I have denied it to princes. Nevertheless, to you, the true female twins of perfection, I am one to depart withal.
I hope I shall have my honours copy.
You are ambitious in that, Hedon.
Re-enter Anaides.
Now, Anaides, what is it hath conjured up this distemperature in the circle of your face?
Why, what have you to do? A pox upon your filthy travelling face. Hold your tongue.
Nay, dost hear, mischief?
Away, musk cat.
I say to thee, thou art rude, debauched, impudent, coarse, unpolished, a frappeler and base.
Heart of my father, what a strange alteration has half a year's haunting of ordinaries wrought in this fellow, that came with a tough taffeta jerkin to town but the other day, and a pair of penniless hose, and now he is turned Hercules, he wants but a club.
Sir, you with the pencil on your chin, I will garner my hose with your guts, and that shall be all. Exit Anaides.
Slid, what rare fireworks be here? Flash! Flash!
What is the matter, Hedon? Can you tell?
Nothing, but that he lacks crowns and thinks we'll lend him some to be friends.
Re-enter Asotus and Moria with Morus. Come, sweet lady, in good truth I'll have it. You shall not deny me. Morus, persuade your aunt I may have her picture by any means.
Yea, sir. Good aunt now. Let him have it. He will use me the better. If you love me, do, good aunt.
Well, tell him he shall have it.
Master, you shall have it, she says.
Well, shall I? Oh, thank her, good page.
What, has he entertained the fool?
Aye, he'll wait close. You shall see, though the beggar hang off a while. Aunt, my master thanks you.
Call him hither.
Yes, master.
Yes, in verity, and gave me this purse. And he's promised me a most fine dog, which he will have drawn with my picture, he says, and desires most vehemently to be known to your ladyships.
Call him hither. 'Tis good groping such a gull.
Master Asotus, Master Asotus.
Oh, for love's sake, let me go. You'll see I'm called to the ladies.
Wilt thou forsake me then?
Odd, so, what would you have me do?
Come hither, Master Asotus. I do endure your ladyships. He is a gentleman of a very worthy desert, and of a most bountiful nature. You must show and insinuate yourself responsible and equivalent now to my commendment. Good honours grace him.
I protest more than most fair ladies. I do wish all variety of divine pleasures, choice sports, sweet music, rich fare, brave attire, soft beds, and silken thoughts attend these fair beauties. Will it please your ladyship to wear this chain of pearl and this diamond for my sake?
Oh!
And you, madam, this jewel and pendants?
Oh!
We know not how to deserve these bounties out of so slight merit, Asotus.
No, in faith, but there's my glove for a favour.
And soon after the revels, I will bestow a garter on you.
Oh, Lord, ladies, it is more grace than ever I could have hoped, but that it pleased your ladyships to extend. I protest it is enough that you but take knowledge of my, if your ladyships want embroidered gowns, ties of any fashion, shoes, jewels, or carcanets, anything whatsoever, if you vouchsafe to accept it.
And for it they will help you to shoe ties and devices.
I cannot utter myself, dear beauties, but you can conceive.
Did I miss that O?
There's an O, yes. Another O.
Sir, we will acknowledge your service, doubt not. Henceforth you shall be no more Asotus to us, but our goldfinch, and we your cages.
Oh, Venus, madams, how shall I deserve this? If I but made acquainted with Hedon I'll try. Pray you away.
How he prays money to go away from him.
Amorphus, a word with you. Here's a watch I would bestow upon you. Pray you make me known to that gallant.
That I will, sir. Monsieur Hedon, I must entreat you to exchange knowledge with this gentleman.
'Tis a thing next to the water we expect I thirst after, sir. Good Monsieur Asotus.
Good Monsieur Hedon, I would be glad to be loved of a man of your rank and spirit, I protest. Please you to accept this pair of bracelets, sir, that they are not worth the bestowing.
Oh, Hercules, how the gentleman purchases! This must needs bring Argurion to consumption.
Sir, I shall never stand in the merit of such bounty, I fear.
Oh, Venus, sir, your acquaintance shall be sufficient, and if at any time you need my bill or my bond... And Argurion swoons.
Help the lady there.
Gods, dear Argurion. Madam, how do you do?
Sick.
Have her forth and give her air.
Oh, I come again straight, ladies. Exeunt Asotus, Morus, and Argurion.
Well, I doubt all the physic he has will scarce recover. She's too far spent.
Exit Mercury. Everyone else remains. There we will pause. Quite a lot going on there, some of which, the motivation of which I'm not wholly sure how it functions, but I'm sure it's in there. It's just the sort of pacing of everything made it tricky. We have an interesting, again, singing, people doing, again, the kind of things you do when you have no television. We've done party games, and now you get people to do a turn. And, of course, Amorphus, who is just basically seems to just live off their wits and figures something out last minute. That seems to be a recurring character trait. Says, oh, we've got a song. Yeah, I've got a song, and makes up this massive backstory about this song that goes on forever. And then what is it? It's about a glove. And you know, the glove for his sweet love. And it's this wonderfully sort of the best of gloves. It's just, yes, wonderfully. But after the build-up is essential for that gag to land, and I like that very much. Alexandra, then Lynn.
Just to add to your point, he also says, I set it to my most affected instrument, the lyre. And then when it comes, it needs to go slightly differently to how we've done it. So he'd be reading it and then giving the lyre part to, or the lyre itself to Hedon, going, no, you play it. You play it, I'll do the singing, all right? And, you know, it wouldn't be incredibly difficult to even make Hedon sing it as well. So it's sort of, I'm going to do all of this, backstory, you do it.
Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, what a steaming pile of, you know, it's the Emperor's niece died of love for me. I expect people to believe that? Anyway. But anyway, what I was actually thinking, that says later on in this sequence, so I was wondering if Rob wants to sort of modify his claim that Asotus is the only kind of normal person that we can sort of relate to, because here he is, either just out of total insensitivity and ignorance, or just general shittiness, giving away all the presents that his new girlfriend gave him to other women. What?
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite know the full motivation, but I suspect it's this social climbing thing. He's using the things he's been given to gain additional social status with other people. I'm not quite sure how the motivation, the logic of that works yet. I have to say, I didn't quite unpick that in the moment of reading it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He's not bit, and it's just Argurion is just going, constantly. I mean, yeah. Eric.
I found that interesting because it made me think of Solomon and Brissida at the beginning with the whole tournament and sort of, yes, I will wear this carcanet forever. And obviously he doesn't. I think it's Erastus, I want to say, but I'm not entirely sure if that's the name. And he kind of gives it away for some, or just loses it, something like that. In a bet, or I can't remember the context, but in any case, he loses the jewelry that she gave him, and that turns out to be like the sort of big turning point of this tragedy. Whereas here it's being used for comic effect and kind of for a completely different purpose. Just interesting.
Alexandra.
I think there's a metatextual level there as well, because he has essentially wooed money. And if we think back to Liberality and Prodigality, where Money was a character by that name, as I remember, played by Eric, it's the way in which people treat the characters of Money, like as soon as they've got into their favor, or they've been somehow given hold of that person, like they own them. So, you know, in this particular case, he's been given all these gifts. He's treating his riches with entitlement rather than with gratitude. You know, and handing them out to everyone prodigally. Liberality and prodigality.
Yeah, and that is, and that's a play that's going to be following very soon after this. Within a year, I think that pops up, and it may even be the same company. Certainly, I think it's a boys' company play. So, yeah, there may be more than a logical connection to that sort of ongoing thing there. Yes, and then we got Anaides, who just seems to be really pissed off about something. Not quite sure what. Actually, again, I sort of missed out. I know he's angry, or jealous or whatever, and he's not. But he sort of stomps off without an exit cue, and stomps back on again, and then stomps off again. And I'm not. I obviously missed why. Someone may be able to tell me that. I'll go to Sarah, then Eric.
No, I can't tell you. I have actually lost track of Anaides, not just why he was getting cross, but also who he is. He cropped up. You were reading, and I'm thinking, oh my God, who is this again? Now I can't remember. Can someone remind me who he is?
Yes, and the room goes.
I am clearly not the only one then. Well, that's probably worth noting then.
Well, I mean, basically, he first appears as the hanger-on, I think, with Hedon. They are basically a double act.
Right. Okay.
I don't know that he's given more to say differentiate him from him. I could be wrong on that point.
So
That's
he's
just me
just a
quickly
sort of-
flicking through my script.
Okay, so he's just a courtier, hanger on with Hedon. Okay, good.
I think
Thank you.
that's how we first met him. Yeah, they're very much that sort of double act thing, swapping chat up lines. Eric.
Yeah, and also kind of, I think Anaides' point of running off was basically that his page hadn't turned up, and his page being Gelaia, who is kind of described as a wench in breeches. So hence the whole joke about the hermaphrodite. I think that was the point of Mercury's comment, because Gelaia was delayed for some reason. And also to add to Alexandra's point about money, Mercury does this whole thing about, oh, she's too far spent. And it's like, in case you didn't get the linguistic joke there, I'm talking about money. It kind of feels like Mercury is kind of, Mercury is kind of almost Jonson's voice in this, as well as Cupid sort of like sitting there commentating.
Well, he's certainly commentating. I mean, I think I'd be a bit careful about saying it's the voice of Jonson. But yeah, certainly they're both Mercury and Cupid, of course, in theory are disguised as pages and wandering around. And of course, that may be connected with this "Where's my page" business that has been mooted at, but I don't know if it actually does. Okay, we need to keep going because we're still mid-scene. This is the thing, keeping track of this ongoing flow of scenes within an ongoing scene. So Act 4, Scene 4, re-enter Anaides with Gelaia, Prosaites, and Cos with the bottles. The water has arrived!
Oh, here the waters come. Fetch glasses, page.
Heart of my body, here's a coil indeed with your jealous humours, nothing but whore and bitch and all the villainous swaggering names you can think on. Slid, take your bottle and put it in your guts for me. I'll see you pox, dare you I follow you any longer.
Nay, good punk, sweet rascal, damn me if I am jealous now.
That's true indeed, indeed. Pray let's go.
What's the matter here?
Slide hears me upon interrogatories. Nay, my mother shall know how you use me. Where have I been? And why should I stay so long? And how is it possible? And withal calls me at his pleasure. I know not how many cockatrices and things.
In truth and sadness, these are no good epitaphs, Anaides, but bestow on any gentlewoman. And I'll ensure you, if I'd known you would have dealt thus with my daughter, she should never have fancied you so deeply as she has done. Go to.
Why do you hear, Mother Moria, hot?
Nay, I pray you, sir, do not swear.
Swear? Why, Sblood, I have not sworn afore now, I hope. Both you and your daughter mistake me. I have not honoured Arete, that is held the worthiest lady in the court, next to Cynthia, with half that observance and respect, as I have done her in private, howsoever outwardly I have carried myself careless and negligent. Come, you are a foolish punk, and know not when you are well employed. Kiss me, come on. Do it, I say.
Nay, indeed, I must confess, she is apt to misprison. But I must have you leave it, minion.
And re-enter Asotus. He doesn't speak straight away. Amorphous first. There's
How
lots of
now,
A's.
Asotus? How now, Asotus? How does the lady?
Oh, Faith, ill. I have left my page with her at a lodging.
Oh, here's the rarest water that ever was tasted. Fill him some.
What? Has my master a new page?
Yes, a kinsman of the Lady Morus. You must wait better now, or you're cashiered, Prosaites.
Come, gallants, you must pardon my foolish humour. When I am angry that anything crosses me, I grow impatient straight. Here, I drink to you.
Oh, that we had 5 or 6 bottles more of this liquor.
Now I commend your judgment, Amorphous.
There is knocking within.
Who that knocks? Look, page.
Exit cause.
Oh, most delicious. A little of this would make Argurion well.
Oh no, give her no cold drink by any means.
Splud, this water is spirit of wine. I'll be hanged else. Re-enter cause with Arete.
Is the Lady Arete, madam?
Everyone remains on stage as we go into Act 4, Scene 5.
What, at your beaver, gallants?
Will please your ladyship to drink. 'Tis of the new fountain water.
Not I, Moria, I thank you. Gallants, you are for this night freed to your peculiar delights. Cynthia will have no sports. When she is pleased to come forth, you shall have knowledge. In the meantime, I could wish you did provide for solemn revels and some unlooked-for device of wit to entertain her, against she should vouchsafe to grace her pastimes with her presence.
What say you to a mask?
Nothing better if the project were new and rare.
Why, I'll send for Freitas and have his advice. Be you ready in your endeavours, he shall discharge you of the inventive part.
But will not your ladyship stay?
Not now, Phantaste.
And exit Arete.
Let her go, I pray you. Good Lady Sobriety, I am glad we are rid of her.
What a set face the gentlewoman has, as she was still going to a sacrifice.
Oh, she is the extraction of a dozen of Puritans for a look.
The nymphs in the court. I cannot away with her. 'Tis the coarsest thing.
I wonder how Cynthia can affect her so above the rest. Here be they are every way as fair as she, and a thought fairer, I trow.
Aye, and as ingenious and conceited as she.
Aye, and as politic as she, for all she set such a forehead on it.
Well, I were dead if I would change to be Cynthia.
Or I.
Or I.
And there's her minion, Crites. Why, his advice more than Amorphous. Have I not invention afore him, learning to better that invention above him, and infanted with pleasant travel?
Death, what talk you of his learning? He understands no more than a schoolboy. I have put him down myself 1,000 times by this air, and yet I never talked with him but twice in my life. You never saw his like. I could never get him to argue with me but once, and then, because I could not construe an author I quoted at first sight, he went away and laughed at me. By Hercules, I scorn him as I do the sodden nymph that were here even now, his mistress Arete, and I love myself and nothing else.
I wonder the fellow does not hang himself, being thus scorned and contemned of us that are held the most accomplished society of gallants.
By yourselves, none else.
I protest, if I had no music in me, no courtship, that I were not a reveller and could dance, or had not those excellent qualities that give a man life and perfection, but a mere poor scholar as he is, I think I should make some desperate way with myself. Whereas now, would I might never breathe more if I do know that creature in this kingdom with whom I would change.
This is excellent. Well, I must alter all this soon.
Look, you do, Cupid. The bottles have wrought, it seems.
Oh, I am sorry the revels are crossed. I should have tickled it soon. I did never appear till then. Slid, I'm the neatliest made gallant in the company, and I have the best presents, and my dancing, well, I know what our usher said to me the last time I was at the school. Would I might have led Philautia in the measures, and it had been the god's will. I am most worthy, I am sure. Re-enter Morus.
Master, I can tell you news. The lady kissed me yonder and played with me and says she loved you once as well as she does me, but that you cast her off.
Oh, peace, my most esteemed page.
Yes.
What luck is this? Our revels are dashed. Now was I beginning to glister in the very highway of preferment, and Cynthia had seen me dance a strain or do but one trick, I'd been kept in court. I should have never needed to look towards my friends again.
Contain yourself. You were a fortunate young man if you knew your own good, which I have now projected and will presently multiply upon you. Beauties and valours, your vouchsafed applause to emotion. The humorous Cynthia hath for this night withdrawn the light of your delight.
'Tis true, Amorphus. What may we do to redeem it?
Redeem that we cannot, but to create a new flame is in our power. Here is a gentleman, my scholar, whom, for some private reasons, me specially moving, I am covetous to gratify with title of Master in the noble and subtle science of courtship. For which grace he shall this night in court and in the long gallery hold his public act, by open challenge to all masters of the mystery whatsoever, to play at the forechoice and principal weapons thereof, viz. The bare accost, the better regard, the solemn address, and the perfect close. What say you?
Excellent,
Amorphus.
Well, let us then take our time by the forehead. I will instantly have bills drawn and advanced in every angle of the court. Sir, betray not your too much joy. Anaides, we must mix this gentleman with you in acquaintance. Monsieur Asotus.
Oh, I am easily entreated to grace any of your friends, Amorphus. Sir, and his friends shall likewise grace you, sir. Nay, I begin to know myself now.
Oh, you must continue your bounties.
Oh, must I? I'll give him his ruby on my finger. Do you hear, sir? I do heartily wish your acquaintance, and partly know myself worthy of it. Please you, sir, to accept this poor ruby in a ring, sir. The posy of it is my own device. Let this, blush for me, sir. So it must for me, too, for I am not ashamed to take it.
Sweet man, by my troth, master, I love you. Will you love me too for my aunt's sake? I'll wait. Well, you shall see. I'll still be here. Would I might never stir, but you are a fine man in these clothes, master. Shall I have them when you are done with them?
As for that, Morus, thou shalt see me more hereafter. In the meantime, by this air or by this feather, I'll do as much for thee as any gallant shall do for his page, whatsoever, in this court, corner of the world, or kingdom, and exit omnes apart from Mercury, Cupid, Prosaites, and Cos.
I wonder this gentleman should affect to keep a fool. He thinks he makes sport enough with himself.
Well, Prosaites, 'twere good you did wait closer.
Aye, I'll look to it. 'Tis time.
The revels would have been most sumptuous tonight if they had gone forward.
Exit Cos.
They must needs, when all the choicest singularities of the court were up in Phantaste. Narrow one of them, but was able to make a whole show of itself.
Sirrah, a torch, a torch!
Oh, what a call is there? I will have a cazanet made with nothing in it but sirrah, and the burthen shall be, I come.
Exit Prosaites.
Oh no, Cupid, how do you like this change?
Faith, the thread of my device is cracked. I may go sleep till the revelling music awake me.
And then too, Cupid, without you had prevented the fountain. Alas, poor god that remembers not self-love to be proof against the violence of his quiver. Well, I have a plot against these prizes for which I must presently find out Crighton, and with his assistance pursue it to a high strain of laughter, or Mercury hath lost of his mettle.
And they exit. Cue music, interval break before Act 5. So yeah, we've had a messenger from Cynthia. There's going to be some revelling. Stop having fun now. You're only allowed to have fun when Cynthia arrives. So now stop that. That's just too silly. Now, no one likes to laugh more than me. Except possibly my wife. Anyway, no. So we have that sort of moment. We've got, again, lots of sort of business going on here. We've got... I did half the dialogue and I can't remember what actually I was talking about half of the time. I got a bit lost. Okay, that's fine. But yes, Amorphus was coming up with some ideas for reveling. I seem to recall there was some of that going on. Other thoughts from the room about this sort of? It's like the plot came on and it all started getting in the way of the other stuff. Damn you interposing plot, Lynn.
Well, evidently they drank the water, and as we could have predicted, no very striking changes took place. I mean, they still all are really in love with themselves. Am I wrong? Should that be played differently?
It did feel like there was something going on, but you're in a sense you're right. It's very hard for them because they're already in that sort of zone. Definitely felt like they were getting off on it though. Sarah.
Asotus, I think. There's a difference in him. The rest of them, they're also in love with themselves anyway. But he sort of went from being, like, oh my God, I'm messing all this up. I don't know any of the rules. I'm not doing this properly. To just suddenly kind of loving himself and being so magnanimous with his page, which I thought was hilarious. He was just being so bountiful with his page, which he was suddenly so full of confidence and, oh yes, I shall bestow things on you. And so I really noticed it with him, but not with any of the others.
Yeah, and of course, especially as Morus has been getting off with the person who he was, in theory, attached to there. Which is his own fault, serves him right. Revenge snog from money there. I think that's perfectly reasonable action. Other thoughts, Eric?
I did like how he's like, so can I have your clothes when you're done with them? Or like, before you die, or if you die, or something. And it just kind of feels like this obnoxious moment of, he could have said, no, how dare you? But Asotus just goes, yes, of course, I will bestow anything you like upon you.
Okay. Any other thoughts from Act 4? It's a big sprawling party scene, effectively, before the revels actually happen. So it's sort of more, general court stuff. Asotus feels like he's got a foot in the door. He's a bit worried now that he's blown it just before Cynthia arrives, because he'd have really cemented his position. If he'd able to do some dancing before Cynthia. Apparently his dancing's going to be amazing. Do we think his dancing is going to be amazing? Who knows? He seems very confident on the point, though. It's not like the other times where you've seen him being taught things and he's going to be a disaster. Or is this the waters talking? Yeah, could be the waters talking. I'm amazing. I can dance all the dances. Yeah, Alexandra.
I think it might be there are several. I was just scrolling back through it, and I think there are several lines that are the waters talking. Hedon has one as well about I wouldn't exchange my place with anyone. If I were in Crighton's place, I would really bemoan my state. But being who I am, I'm so fabulous. So yes, I think we're supposed to gain an indication that the waters have had an immediate effect, but then the characters don't change the rest of their behavior very much. And the other thing was were mentioning in the chat, suddenly Crighton is remembered because Arete comes on and goes, what are you guys doing? Oh, you're drinking. I'll send Crighton to you to criticize you. And then, they start talking about him because, we've had other things to deal with. And who the hell is that guy anyway?
Yeah, because Critias hasn't come on and complained for ages. Not since Act 3. So, it'll be quite nice to have him, come in and criticise our lifestyles and belief systems. Eric.
Well, also we were talking about this in the chat. That it sounds. I don't know what happened with the previous sections that we've missed. But like it sounds a bit like a morality play. What with, like the sort of, Hedon and Philautia and some of the characters having different names, sort of like rename themselves, and then the sort of towards the end of Act 4, the sort of good characters come in to sort of, aka virtue, in the form of Arete, comes in to ruin the party and ruin the fun. And yeah, it seems a bit like that, although I doubt that Jonson would write a morality play, so I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's beyond him. I don't think that's what he's doing. I think there are elements of that in form, but I don't think he's heading for a straightforward moralistic end. But he might do. I don't know. We haven't got that yet. It feels like there's not really like the forces of good are going to come storming on and everyone's going to recant. I don't see that as being the ending. I mean, it might. Who knows? They might all just drink the Kool-Aid. Who knows where this will go? So let's find out. We're going to go into the massive Act 5. Yes, this is not a structurally stable play. And I don't know when we're going to stop. We're just going to keep going. We will stop and start, but where we stop, I don't know until presumably we reach the parts that I haven't actually handed out, and I have to rapidly start handing out additional parts, and the doubling, such as it is, falls apart. So Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Mercury and Crites.
It is resolved on, Crites. You must do it.
The grace divinest Mercury hath done me in this vouchsafed discovery of himself, binds my observance in the utmost terms of satisfaction to his godly will, though I profess, without the affectation of an enforced and formed austerity, I could be willing to enjoy no place with so unequal natures.
We believe it, but for our sake and to inflict just pains on their prodigious follies, aid us now. No man is presently made bad with ill, and good men like the sea should still maintain their noble taste in midst of all fresh humours that flow about them, to corrupt their streams, bearing no season, much less salt of goodness. It is our purpose, Crites, to correct and punish with our laughter this night's sport, which our court doors so heartily intend, and by that worthy scorn to make them know how far beneath the dignity of man their serious and most practised actions are.
Aye, but though Mercury can warrant out his undertakings and make all things good out of the powers of his divinity, the offence will be returned with weight on me, that am a creature so despised and poor, when the whole court shall take itself abused by our ironical confederacy.
You are deceived. The better racing court that have the true nobility called virtue will apprehend it as a grateful right done to their separate merit, and approve the fit rebuke of so ridiculous heads, who with their apish customs and forced garbs would bring the name of courtier in contempt, did it not live unblemished in some few, with whom equal Jove hath loved, and Phoebus formed of better metal and better mould.
Well, since my leader on is Mercury, I shall not fear to follow. If I fall, my proper virtue shall be my relief, that followed such a cause, and such a chief.
And they exit. I think we should just briefly pause on this little scene with Crites and Mercury. What's the thesis here? What's Alexandra?
I think I figured it out. So Mercury has gone to Crites and said, you have to come and mock at these people with my benediction. And Crites is going, yeah, but you're a god. You can sort of make that happen and not suffer the consequences. They're going to be really upset with me. And Mercury is guaranteeing his protection, basically.
It's like we hit it went into verse and then it just became very opaque. I was very unclear what was going on there. Which is a shame because I thought it was very, very, very nicely phrased. I just wasn't very lucid. Lynn.
That's just a really interesting point that you just made, because it has occurred to me as we've been reading through this that the unlike many things from this period, the syntax is actually quite easy to parse in most of these speeches. But when he goes into verse, it suddenly becomes much more difficult to parse the syntax and figure out what's going on. I don't know what to make of that, but that's just a really interesting observation.
Eric.
There's a part of me having read that. I mean, yes, it was a break, but I think he's also misleading him, because in the previous scene, he's like he and Mercury and Cupid have been plotting to sort of wreak havoc and, continue the party basically, but also teach the courtiers a lesson at the same time. So it feels like he's about to mislead Crighton. I don't know, maybe that's just me, knowing what Mercury's like in sort of mythological terms, one of the mischievous gods as well.
Yes, Mercurial Mercury, indeed. It's going to be, maybe a problem for poor Crighton. Let's see. We've got another shortish scene of action before things start opening out to more and more and more revelers. Act 5, Scene 2. Enter Asotus and Amorphus. No more, if you love me, good master. You are incompatible to live withal. Send me for the ladies.
Nay, but intend me.
Fear me not, I warrant you, sir.
Render not yourself a refractory on the sudden. I can allow, well, you should repute highly, heartily, and to the most of your own endowments. It gives you forth to the world the more assured, but with reservation of an eye, to be always turned dutifully back upon your teacher.
Nay, good sir, leave it to me. Trust me with the trussing all the points of this action, I pray you. Slit, I hope we shall find wit to perform the science as well as another.
I confess you to be of an apted and docible humour, yet there are certain punctilios, or, as I may more nakedly insinuate them, certain intrinsicate strokes and wards, to which your activity is not yet amounted, as your gentle door in colours, for supposition, your mistress appears here in prize, ribanded with green and yellow. Now, it is the part of every obsequious servant to be sure to have daily about him copy and variety of colours, to be presently answerable to any hourly or half-hourly change in his mistress's revolution.
I know it, sir.
Give leave, I pray you, which, if your antagonist or player against you shall ignorantly be without, and yourself can produce, you give him the door.
Aye, sir.
Or if you can possess your opposite, that the green your mistress wears is her rejoicing or exultation in his service, the yellow, suspicion of his truth from her height of affection, and that he, greenly credulous, shall withdraw thus in private, and from the abundance of his pocket, to displace her jealous conceit, steal into his hat the colour, whose blueness doth express trueness. She being not so, nor so affected, you give him the door.
Do not I know it, sir?
Nay, good. Swell not above your understanding. There is yet a third door in colours.
I know it too, I know it.
Do you know it too? What is it? Make good your knowledge.
Why, it is, no matter for that.
Do it, on pain of the door.
Why, what is't, say you?
Lo, you have given yourself the door, but I will remonstrate to you the third door, which is not, as the two former doors, indicative, but deliberative. As how? As thus. Your rival is, with a dutiful and serious care, lying in his bed, meditating how to observe his mistress. Dispatcheth his lackey to the chamber early, to know what her colours are for the day, with purpose to apply his wear that day accordingly. You wait before. Preoccupy the chambermaid, corrupt her to return false colours. He follows the fallacy, comes out accoutred to his believed instructions. Your mistress smiles, and you give him the door.
Why, so I told you, sir, I knew it.
Told me? It is a strange residuance, your humour too much redoundeth.
Why, sir, what do you think you know more?
I know that a cook may as soon and properly be said to smell well as you to be wise. I know these are the most clear and clean strokes, but then you have your passages and imbricatas in courtship, as the bitter bob in wit, the reverse in face or wry mouth, and these more subtle and secure offenders. I will example unto you, your opponent makes your entry as you are engaged with your mistress, you, seeing him, close in her ear with this whisper, "Here comes your baboon, disgrace him," and withal stepping off, fall on his bosom, and turning to her politely aloud say, "Lady, regard this noble gentleman, a man rarely parted, second to none in this court," and then, stooping over his shoulder, your hand on his breast, your mouth on his backside, you give him the reverse stroke, with this sana or stork's bill, which makes up your wit's bob most bitter.
Nay, for heaven's sake, teach me no more. I know all as well. Slid, if I did not. Why was I nominated? Why did you choose me? Why did the ladies prick me out? I'm sure there were other gallants, but me of all the rest, by that light, and as I am a courtier, would I might never stir, but 'tis strange. Would to the Lord the ladies would come once. Just a good pause there. It feels like we've entered Act 5 and it's just... I can understand there's a joke structure going on here and that there's a thing, but I don't really know what the thing is, so I'm not really sure how to play. I know basically I'm being bamboozled with things, and I'm supposed to be bamboozled. I think that's the gag here, but I'm so bamboozled I don't know what the bamboozling is. I don't know really what's going on. Any thoughts in the room, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, there was a word that kept coming up, D-O-R, which we all pronounce as door, but I've got...
Like mockery.
No, sorry?
Mockery, like scoffing, mockery.
Ah, right, thank you.
Sorry, I just responded with a joke in the chat. But...
Yeah, it just, without knowing what it meant, I was, oh, where the hell are we going?
Yeah, but I mean, even with that knowledge, it still doesn't really tell us what's going on.
No, I mean, I'm not sure what Jonson had been drinking, but can I have a pint of it, please?
Yeah. Quite opaque. Thoughts from the room about what's going on? Eric, then
I'm
Sarah.
happy to be wrong. I think the point is that they're, in engaging this whole game that they were talking about earlier with, sort of going through the courtship ritual and deciding who's the best. They're trying to embarrass someone else by messing up its game, basically. In the very mean way, and calling them various names like baboon and various other animals.
Sarah.
Yes, that would make sense. If it's like, because they were all fairly conceited anyway, and now they've drunk the water, they're looking for ways to sort of prove their self-love to themselves by doing down everyone else. I'm not quite entirely sure, but that sort of makes sense. I was just going to say, I just feel like this play is making me feel really stupid because like I just get the impression there's something really funny going on, but I'm not entirely sure what it is, and it's frustrating me. It's like I feel like Asotus. Like I feel like I'm sort of in this incredibly I don't know that I'd call it witty exactly, but in this court where everything is working and everybody knows the rules, and all of a sudden I don't. I was following it, and now all of a sudden I'm not following it at all. And I'm not saying that that's the point of the play, but That is my experience of it, most definitely.
Well, I'd say it was all fine until about 10 minutes ago. There are a few moments where I'm going, I'm not sure why this is happening, but I at least understand what is happening. And in a sense, the gag between the relationship between Asotus and Amorphus is still the same. Nothing has changed, but I don't actually know what the actual driver of that comedy skit is. And it is a sort of detached. I don't think it's plot. I don't think any of that matters. In a way that the earlier scene with Freitas and Mercury does deliver some level of plot. It's important that we know what's going on, and the fact that it was a bit opaque is more of a problem in a sense, because we need to know that data. Whereas here I'm just sort of going, just quietly cut this in. It's a long play. I feel like we found something where I just go quietly, just quietly, there we go. But anyway, maybe there was something very important in there that we'll understand with more context later on. Who knows? Right, Act 5, Scene 3. So Asotus and Amorphus are still on stage, but we have now, joining them, someone who we haven't met before, enter Morphides.
Signor, the gallants and ladies are at hand. Are you ready, sir?
Instantly. Go accomplish your attire.
Exit Asotus.
Cousin Morphides, assist me to make good the door with your officious tyranny.
By your leave, my master's there. Pray you let's come by.
You by? Why should you come by more than we?
Why, sir? Because he is my brother that plays the prizes.
Your brother?
Her brother, sir. We must come in. We must come in.
Lynn, you're the tailor. Voices off. Lots of voices off. Citizen's wife, citizen, and tailor off stage.
My bad. Citizen's wife. All right.
Right, so we're coming in.
Cue me again. Sorry.
Her brother, sir. We must come in.
Why? What are you?
I'm her husband, sir.
Then thrust forward your head.
What tumult is there?
Who's there? Bear back there. Stand from the door.
Enter none but the ladies and their hang-bys.
Enter Phantaste, Philautia, Argurion, Moria, Hedon, and Anaides, introducing 2 ladies.
Welcome, beauties, and your kind shadows.
This country lady, my friend, good Signor Amorphus.
And my cockatrice here.
She is welcome.
The citizen and his wife, pages, etc., appear at the door.
Knock those same pages there. And Goodman Coxcomb the citizen. Who would you speak with all?
My brother!
With whom? Your brother?
Who is your brother?
Master Asotus.
Master Asotus. Is he your brother? He is taken up with great persons. He is not to know you tonight.
Re-enter Asotus hastily. Oh, by Jove, master, and there come a citizen gentlewoman in my name. Let her have entrance, I pray you. It is my sister.
Brother!
Sorry, brother, Master Asotus.
Oh, who's there?
'Tis I, brother.
God's me, there she is. Good master, intruder.
Make place. Bear back there.
And enter the citizen's wife.
Knock that simple fellow there.
Nay, good sir, it is my husband.
The simpler fellow he. Away. Back with your head, sir.
And pushes the citizen back. Oh, brother, you must pardon your non-entry. Husbands are not allowed here, in truth. I'll come home soon with my sister. Pray you meet us with a lanthorn, brother. Be merry, sister. I'll make you laugh anon. Exit Asotus.
Your prizer is not ready, Amorphus.
Apprehend your places. He shall be soon, and at all points.
Is there anybody come to answer him? Shall we have any sport?
Sport of importance. Howsoever, give me the gloves.
Gloves? Why gloves, Signor?
What's the ceremony?
Besides their received fitness, at all prizes, they are here properly accommodate to the nuptials of my scholars, Havia of the Lady Courtship. Please you apparel your hands. Madam Phantaste, Madam Philautia, Guardian, Signor Hedon, Signor Anaides, gentlemen all, ladies.
Thanks,
good
good
Amorphous.
Thanks, good Amorphous.
I will now call forth my provost and present him.
And exit Amorphous, having distributed gloves among the party. Hart, why should not we be masters as well as he?
That's true. And play our master's prizes as well as t'other.
Sadness for using your court weapons. Methinks you may.
Nay, but why should not we ladies play our prizes, I pray? I see no reason but we should take them down at their own weapons.
Troth, and so we may if we handle them well.
Aye, indeed, forsooth, madam. If 'twas in the city, we would think foul scorn, but we would, forsooth.
Brayu, what should we call your name?
My name is Downfall. Good Mistress Downfall. I am sorry your husband could not get in. 'Tis no matter for him, sir.
No, she has the more liberty for herself.
Peace, they come.
Re-enter Amorphous, introducing Asotus in a full dress suit.
So, keep up your ruff. The tincture of your neck is not all so pure, but it will ask it. Maintain your sprig upright, your cloak on your half-shoulder falling. So, I will read your bill, advance it, and present you. Silence. Be it known to all that profess courtship by these presents, from the white satin reveller to the cloth of tissue and bodkin, that we, Ulysses, Polytropus, Amorphous, master of the noble and subtle science of courtship, do give leave and license to our provost, Acolastus Polypragmon Asotus, to play his master's prize against all masters whatsoever in this subtle mystery at these four, the choice and most cunning weapons of court compliment, viz. The bare accost, the better regard, the solemn address, and the perfect close. These are therefore to give notice to all comers that he, the said Acolastus Polypragmon Asotus, is here present, by the help of his mercer, tailor, milliner, sempster, and so forth, at his designed hour in this fair gallery, the present day of this present month, to perform and do his utmost for the achievement and bearing away of the prizes, which are these, viz. For the bare accost, 2 wall eyes in a face forced; for the better regard, a face favourably simpering, with a fan waving; for the solemn address, 2 lips wagging, and never a wise word; for the perfect close, a ring by the hand, with a banquet in a corner. And Phoebus save you, Cynthia! Appeareth no man yet to answer the prizer? No voice? Music, give them their summons.
Music.
The solemnity of this is excellent.
Silence. Well, I perceive your name is their terror, and keepeth them back.
Faith, master, let's go. Nobody comes. Victus, Victor, Victum, Victi, Victe, Victi. Let's be retrograde.
Stay. That were dispunct to the ladies. Rather ourself shall be your encounter. Take your state up to the wall, and, lady, may we implore you to stand forth as first term or bound to our courtship?
Hedon.
For heaven 'twill show rarely.
Sound a charge.
A charge. Yeah. A pox onto your vulgar will count this fabulous and impudent now. By that candle they'll never conceit it. They act their accost severally to Moria.
Excellent, well, admirable.
Peace.
Most fashionably believe it.
Oh, he's a well-spoken gentleman.
Now the other?
Very good.
For a scholar, Honor.
Tis too Dutch. He reels too much.
This weapon is done.
No, we have our 2 bouts at every weapon. Expect.
Where be these gallants and their brave prizer here?
Oh, who's there? Bear back. Keep the door.
Enter Crighton, introducing Mercury, who is fantastically dressed.
What are you, sir?
By your license, Grand Master. Come forward, sir.
Heart, who let in that rag there amongst us? Put him out, an impecunious creature.
Out with him.
Come, sir.
You must be retrograde.
Soft, sir. I am Trutchman, and do flourish before this monsieur, or French-behaved gentleman here, who is drawn hither by report of your charters, advanced in court to prove his fortune with your prizer, so he may have fair play shown him, and the liberty to choose his stickler.
Is he a master?
That, sir, he has to show here, and confirmed under the hands of the most skilful and cunning complimentaries that are alive. Please you read, sir.
Gives Amorphus a certificate.
What shall we do?
Death! Disgrace this fellow in the black stuff, whatever you do.
Why, but he comes with a stranger.
That's no matter. He is our own countryman.
Aye, and he is a scholar besides. You may disgrace him here with authority.
Well, see these first.
Now shall I be observed by yon scholar till I sweat again? I would to Jove it were over.
Sir, this is the wight of worth that dares you to the encounter, a gentleman of so pleasing and ridiculous a carriage as, even standing, carries me to the mouth. You see, and I assure you, although no-bred courtling, yet a most particular man of goodly havings, well-fashioned behaviour, and of as hardened and excellent a bark as the most naturally qualified amongst them, informed, reformed, and transformed from his original citicism by this elixir, or mere magazine of man. And for your spectators, you behold them what they are, the most choice particulars in court. This tells tales well, this provides coaches, this repeats jests, this presents gifts, this holds up the arras, this takes down from horse, this protests by this light, this swears by that candle, this delighteth, this adoreth, yet all but 3 men. Then, for your ladies, the most proud, witty creatures, all things apprehending, nothing understanding, perpetually laughing, curious maintainers of fools, mercers, and minstrels, costly to be kept, miserably keeping, all disdaining but their painter and apothecary, twixt whom and them there is this reciproc commerce, their beauties maintaining their painters, and their painters their beauties.
Sir, you have played the painter yourself and limned them to the life I desire to deserve before them.
This is authentic. We must resolve to entertain the monsieur, howsoever we neglect him.
Come, let's all go together and salute him.
Content, and not look on the other.
Well devised, and a most punishing disgrace.
On.
Monsieur, we must not so much betray ourselves to discourtship as to suffer you to be longer unsaluted. Please you to use the state ordained for the opponent, in which nature, without envy, we receive you.
And embrace you.
And commend us to you, sir.
Believe it, he is a man of excellent silence.
He keeps all his wit for action.
This have discountenanced our Scholaris most richly.
Out of all emphasis, the monsieur sees we regard him not.
Hold on. Make it known how bitter a thing it is not to be looked on in court.
Slut will he call him to him yet. Does not monsieur perceive our disgrace?
Heart, he is a fool, I see. We have done ourselves wrong to grace him.
Slight, what an ass was I to embrace him. Illustrious and fearful judges, turn away, turn away. It is the suit of the strange opponent, to whom you ought not to turn your tails, and whose noses I must follow, that he may have the justice, before he encounter in this respected adversary, to see some light stroke of his play commenced with some other. Answer not him, but the stranger, we will not believe him.
I will demand him myself.
Oh, dreadful disgrace, if a man were so foolish to feel it.
Is it your suit, monsieur, to see some prelude of my scholar? Now, sure the monsieur wants language.
And take upon him to be one of the accomplished. Slight, that's a good jest. Would we could take him with that nullity. Non sapete voi parlare italiano?
Foot, the carp has no tongue.
Signor, in courtship you are to bid your abettors forbear and satisfy the monsieur's request.
Well, I will strike him more silent with admiration, and terrify his daring hither. He shall behold my own play with my scholar. Lady, with the touch of your white hand, let me reinstate you.
And leads Moria back to the state.
Provost, begin to me at the bare accost.
And there's a charge.
Now for the honour of my discipline.
Signor Amorphus, reflect. What means he by that mouthed wave? He is in some distaste of your fellow disciples.
Signor, your scholar might have played well still if he could have kept his seat longer. I have enough of him now. He is a mere piece of glass. I see through him by this time.
You come not to give us the scorn, monsieur?
Nor to be frighted with a face, Signor. I have seen the lions. You must pardon me. I shall be loath to hazard a reputation with one that has not a reputation to lose.
How?
Meaning your pupil, sir.
This is that black devil there.
You do offer a strange affront, monsieur.
Sir, he shall yield you all the honour of a competent adversary if you please to undertake him.
I am pressed for the encounter.
Me! Challenge me!
What, my master, sir? Slight, monsieur, meddle with me, do you hear? But do not meddle with my master.
Peace, good squib. Go out.
And think, he bids you.
Master?
Silence. I do accept him. Sit you down and observe. Me! He never professed a thing at more charges. Prepare yourself, sir. Challenge me! I will prosecute what disgrace my hatred can dictate to me.
How tender a traveller's spleen is. Comparison to men that deserve least is ever most offensive.
You are instructed in our chartal and know our weapons?
I appear not without their notice, sir.
But must I lose the prizes, master?
I will win them for you. Be patient. Lady, vouchsafe the tenure of this ensign. Who shall be your stickler?
Behold him.
Points to Freitas.
I would not wish you a weaker. Sound, musics. I provoke you at the bare accost.
A charge.
Excellent, comely.
And worthily studied. This is the exalted foretop. Oh, his leg was too much produced.
And his hat was carried scurvily.
Peace. Let's see the monsieur's accost. Rare.
Sprightly and short.
True, it is the French Corteau, but he lacks but to have his nose slit.
He does hop. He does bound too much.
The second bout to conclude this weapon.
A charge.
Good, believe it.
An excellent offer.
This is called the solemn band string. That cringe was not put home.
He makes a face like a stabbed Lucrece. Well, he would needs take it upon him, but would I have done it all for this? He makes me sit here still like a baboon as I am.
Making villainous faces.
See, the French prepares it richly.
Aye, this is yclept the serious trifle.
Slud, 'tis the horse start out of the brown study.
Rather the bird-eye stroke, sir. Your observance is too blunt, sir.
Judges, award the prize. Take breath, sir. This bout hath been laborious.
And yet your critic or your best song will think these things foppery and easy now.
Or rather mere lunacy. For would any reasonable creature make these his serious studies and perfections, much less only live to these ends, to be the false pleasure of a few, the true love of none, and the just laughter of all? We must prefer the monsieur. We courtiers must be partial.
Oh, speak, Guardian. Name the prize of the bearer cost.
A pair of wall eyes and a face force.
Give the monsieur. Amorphus hath lost his eyes.
I? Is the palate of your judgment down? Gentles, I do appeal.
Yes, master, to me the judges be fools. How now, sir? Type your tongue, mongrel. He cannot appeal. Say you, sir? Sit you still, sir. Why, so I do I not, I pray you?
Merci, madame, and these honourable censors.
Well, to the second weapon, the better regard. I will encounter you better. Attempt.
Sweet honour.
What
Sweet honour.
does my good ambition?
Which take you at this next weapon? I lay a discretion with you on Amorphous' head.
Why, I take the French-behaved gentleman.
'Tis done. A discretion. A discretion. A pretty court wager. Would any discreet person hazard his wit so?
I'll lay a discretion with you, Anaides.
Oh, hang 'em. I'll not venture a doit of discretion on either of their heads.
No, he should venture all, then.
I like none of their plays. Another charge.
See, this is strange play.
'Tis too full of uncertain motion. He hobbles too much.
'Tis called your court staggers, sir. That same fellow talks so now he has a place.
Hang him, neglect him.
Your good ladyship's affection.
Odd so, they speak it this weapon, brother.
They must do so, sister. How should it be the better regard else?
Methinks he did not this respectively enough.
Why, the monsieur but dallies with him.
Dallies, slight. See, he'll put him to it in earnest. Well done, Amorphous.
That puff was good indeed.
Odds me, this is desperate play. He hits himself o' the shins. And he make this good through. He carries it, I warrant him. Indeed, he displays his feet rarely. See, he does the respectively, damnably well.
True idolater of your beauty shall never pass their deities unadored. I rest your poor knight.
Yes, now the oblique leer, or the Janus. He satisfies all with that aspect most nobly.
And another flourish.
And most terribly he comes off, like your Frodomontanto.
How like you this play, Anaides?
Good play, but 'tis too rough and boisterous.
I will second it with a stroke easier, wherein I will prove his language.
A charge. Oh, this is filthy and grave now.
Oh, 'tis cool and wary play. We must not disgrace our own comrade too much.
Signora ho tanto obligo por le favre, rescutio delay. Che veramente desidero con tutto il core a remunerarla in parte, e sicurative, signora mea cara, che io sarà sempre pronto a servirla e onorarla. Basico limane di vo signoria.
The Venetian dop, this.
Most unexpectedly excellent. The French goes down, certain.
As buckets were put down into a well, or as a schoolboy...
Truss up your smile, Jackdaw, and observe. Now the monsieur is moved.
Oh, Bo Peep.
Well, most antic. The French quirk, this, sir.
Oh, heart, he will overrun her.
Mademoiselle, je voudrais que pouvoir montrer mon affection, mais je suis tant malheureuse. Si froid, si laid, si... Je ne sais que je dire. Excusez-moi, je suis tout vostre.
And...
Oh, brave and spirited. He's a right jovialist.
No. Amorphus's gravity outweighs it.
And yet your lady or your feather would outweigh both.
What's the prize, lady, at this better regard?
A face favourably simpering and a fan waving.
They have done doubtfully. Divide. Give the favourable face to the signor and the light wave to the monsieur.
You become the simper well, lady.
And the wag better.
Now to our solemn address. Please the well-graced Philautia to relieve the Lady Sentinel. She hath stood long.
With all my heart, come, guardian, resign your place.
And Moria comes from the state.
Monsieur, furnish yourself with what solemnity of ornament you think fit for this third weapon, at which you are to show all the cunning of stroke your devotion can possibly devise.
Alone, sir. I'll sufficiently decipher your amorous solemnities. Crites, have patience. See if I hid not all their practicum servants with which they lime twigs to catch their fantastic ladybirds.
Aye, but you should do more charitably to do it more openly, that they might discover themselves mocked in these monstrous affectations.
A charge.
Lackey, where's the tailor?
And with that question of where's the tailor, because the tailor and a whole load of other people enter, I will finally find a reasonable point to stop this flow of stuff. Ye gods. It's sort of like we've got the script, a transcription of the dialogue for the judges during an episode of Strictly Come Dancing. As they're watching the dance off, but without any of the pictures, so we have no idea what is physically happening. So it's like all of the stuff that makes this scene good, we do not have. All we've got is the banter that's happening around it, which means that, the amount of work to figure out how this scene, actually gets laughs. It's we don't have the data here. This is very annoying. It's very annoying because it could be brilliant, but, we'd have to spend about a week figuring out what is happening throughout all of this. Because it's just not telling us what's going on. Lynn.
I just want to say thanks for saying that because I'm so confused.
Yeah. So we've got this competition going on. We don't really know the full rules. We have an idea of the rules, but we don't really know that. We don't quite know precisely what they're actually doing. We have an idea what they're doing, and we'd need to spend a very long time to actually unpack it and things. But we've got some people are on one side, some people are on the other. We've got people doing things, but yeah, isn't it, the absence of context, that's quite hard to understand. Briony.
Never before have I enjoyed so much but understood so little of a text. And I think that's why we're mad that we don't understand it, because it's still fun somehow, even though we don't have a clue. It's kept a sense of something. But yeah, what on earth is going on?
Because we constantly have, fanfares and things going on, and then the next thing happens, and there's some witty little turns of phrase, and there's some good, and there is stuff going on between the characters. It doesn't help the two of us are reading two people who are spending quite a long time talking to each other, because of reasons that wasn't quite planned. Sarah.
Yes, and I think it's a testament to Ben Jonson that actually it is as entertaining as it is, given that I have no clue what is going on. And like I said earlier, I feel really frustrated. I feel like I've got my face pressed up to a pane of glass, and there's something delicious and delightful going on the other side of it that I can't get to, because I just don't know what's going on. But yet, in spite of all that, there is still a lot which
Oh, you still, yeah, no, you cut out for a second there. It's like you broke. Johnson had broken the internet.
Jonson probably has broken the internet. Yeah. No, I was just going to say it makes it even more frustrating because it clearly is so funny. I mean, it's very amusing, as Briony said, even when you don't know what's going on. And I have a feeling that we would all be roaring with laughter. And that is just, yes, it's frustrating, but it is also, I think, hats off to Jonson, because I have no clue what's going on, but I am still finding this entertaining. So, you got to give the man some credit there.
I mean, the thing is, if we actually, and I'm sure there are some additional guides out there that will give, this is the way we work here. Just for the viewers at home, just to explain, we deliberately don't give anyone context. We deliberately, ask the question, how much of this is going to land for a modern audience, by giving our readers as little information as possible. Some people come here with more data than others, and see what we get, and so this creates a whole series of questions about, when we go back to looking at this, what we can unpack, what we can. The research that we need to do to figure out, because it is following a certain logical structure. We've had all this stuff about the bearer cost, the bitter regard, the solemn address, the perfect close, and so what they are modelled on will give us clues as to what we should be doing here. Briony?
Yeah, I just wonder whether specifically this last bit, instead of unpacking it, whether you could just transpose something completely modern onto it, because it was kind of giving me maybe a little bit like the gay ballroom scene, where they're like walking against each other in their different outfits, and sometimes there's a bit of a dance involved, and sometimes there's a bit of a rap involved or something, but it's almost like a dance off, but a walk off against each other in ridiculous outfits, and that could be fun. And I feel
it gave me a sort of Zoolander vibe. If David Bowie could come on now, then that would be, appreciated. For lots of reasons. Eric.
Yeah, it does seem a bit like a pageant type thing, or like something that would be an entertainment that was known back then, sort of. And the goal is to basically flatter the lady as much as possible, which Amorphus actually does quite well. And then Mercury just basically insults them in French, which is kind of funny, at least to me and French speakers. He basically, well, for those who don't understand French, he basically goes, "I would like to show you all my affection, but I'm so unhappy, so cold, so ugly." And then, he goes, "I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. I'm all yours." And somehow that becomes like, oh, he's very funny, which is kind of weird. I don't know. Just kind of, I feel like you could just transpose something modern that it would still be funny, so long as they both are really bad at it.
Because it's from the way it's put out, it sounds like it's fencing, but it's also dancing at the same time. I just expect one of the rounds is just throwing digestive biscuits at each other. That's the sort of level that we're at. I've written a play where I've done that, by the way. That's why it immediately came to mind. So and so that each round is just something ridiculous and silly, which Asotus has rehearsed and practiced, and then his master steps in and takes over and is going, "But it's supposed to be my thing," and he's really annoyed, and who wins, and it's almost like it should be Dadaist, that it's just the whole thing is just this weird random thing that they're doing because Cynthia's coming, and they're all high on the bottled water, that they're just off their face. Oh my god, this is the best thing ever. What are you doing? We're just doing this thing kind of thing. We've had to pause midway. This is an incredibly long scene that we're stuck at. I mean, the whole act is a scene, but there is no logical pause point. Actually, there is more. There are more charges. There are more flourishes. We're going to have to start cold tomorrow on all the flourishing before we get to something that might actually before we get to what we might sensibly call the actual Revels. But this is sort of the pre-Revel. This isn't even the Revels, people. This is the pre-show party. This is the warm-up. Cynthia is not in the building yet. So yeah. Okay, so this one's thrown up quite a few challenges because we're talking about, what do we do? Whereas the first half of the play, we were looking at it structurally, going, right, okay, I sort of know what to do with this. We just need to trim it back, make the individual sketches work, and make it all sort of flow. Here we've hit a lot harder stuff where we have to figure out what's going on. I also think this is a massive opportunity, actually, is again talking about filleting back. It's just going with the game is just they're just doing ridiculous things, but incredibly seriously. Then this could be the brilliant starting point for something. It could also become horribly self-indulgent. You have to be really careful about how you do this. But again, taking as read that we're going to cut about half the text because it's an incredibly long play. Maybe not. Maybe only a third. Taking the essence of what's going on here. There is still lots of potential, especially that question of are they off their face on the water? What is the water doing to them? I don't think this is one for audio, unless whatever they're doing creates strange noises. It's just whatever bear accost is. Anyway, so yeah, but as a physical show, especially a show for younger performers, I can imagine this going down a storm. I really can. What we do with it today, again, options from the room. So we're looking for options. We're taking it as read that we're going to cut it. You don't need to say it. Any other thoughts that you might want to throw in? Briony, thrown in at the deep end. No idea what's going on. Any final thoughts?
Just that to reiterate how much the enjoyment has stayed in this play, because I really don't usually like being thrown into the middle of something. I like to get the full week and know what's going on as much as I possibly can, because I don't necessarily follow things as well as other people. But I've still just really, really enjoyed it.
Eric, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. I mean, it took one session off, and suddenly this has happened. I leave you alone for one day, and it just I don't know. It's fun, but it's kind of trying to work out what's happening. I can imagine all this physical business, and I'm pretty sure that everyone else imagined very different physical business, which makes it even funnier somehow, because obviously we're not all seeing the same thing, but we still find it funny in our heads, or not. I don't know. Yeah, this scene just seems a bit laborious, but fun. I don't know.
Because I think the whole thing is a series of games. I mean, the whole play is a series of games, actually. We've had gameplay, parlor games in the previous act. We've got this sort of more formal game going on here, but maybe the whole play, and that's a way to rehearse it as well. You set up lots of games for the cast and use that as a route into the text as you make, because that keeps it alive, because then there's the possibility of who wins and who doesn't, maybe changes each performance, because actually I don't know it matters who wins this, and there might be a final moment where someone needs to win overall. But actually, individual bouts could be won by different people, and we could actually play around with that. I'm sure Ben Jonson wouldn't approve, but sod him, he's dead. Lynn, any final thoughts?
Well, I really don't know what to make of today. I'm a little overwhelmed. So I will just say that I am looking forward to tomorrow, because I'm down to read Cynthia. So I'm kind of hoping I get to just show up and say, "What's all this then?" And just like, stop. This is absurd. Stop. Be serious. Just sort of by the authority of her presence, she just brings it all back into kind of a more reasonable tenor. So maybe I'll get to do that, and maybe not. But I'm a little bit excited to be Cynthia.
Dan, any final thoughts?
So I love sports. And I love watching sports, and I like when sports are incorporated into theatre, and I like when games are incorporated into theatre. I need to know who I'm rooting for, who I'm supporting. So maybe I just jumped in now, but I'm not sure who since I'm not there's not really character development. It seems to just be set pieces and whatnot. I'm not sure what to make of this at this moment.
Which is fair enough. You have been thrown somewhat in at the deep end. Alan, any final thoughts?
For those who've entered today and are saying they're confused, I've been here all week and I'm still confused. And I think to a certain extent, your mention earlier, Rob, of it could get very self-indulgent, I think is quite possibly as good a definition of Jonson as I've heard.
Again, going for things we can do with the text, as our going to Sarah.
Yes, I was talking yesterday about how there are so many, or there could be a production of this where there are lots of contemporary references and resonances, and I'm imagining this whole section that we've just done as like a whole series of increasingly dangerous and absurd TikTok challenges. Like you get the TikTok dance challenges, and then they get increasingly lethal. Maybe people are starting to, I don't know, fall off things or whatever. But I think it could be, yeah. I don't really know what's happening, but I think the things you could invent for those games, for those challenges, again, I think you could make that really resonate with a contemporary audience. So yes, it would take a lot to unpack it all, but I think it might be rather worth it.
Yeah, when you were talking about increasing TikTok hours, that sort of okay, Squid Game. Let's put something at stake that if you fail the challenge, you get shot. Might be a bit dark, but hey, I think maybe that's a thing. Alexandra, any final thoughts?
I think the ideas that we're coming up with for a modern production essentially are stripping it of what was contemporary in its own context. I think a lot of this is supposed to be hilarious because it's making references that people understand, right? Because it's being presented to people who get the foreign languages and who get the sort of references to people wearing certain clothes in certain ways and so on and so forth. So it's kind of sad that what we're basically saying is, yes, let's take the idea and get rid of the actual Jonson, the original text in this, almost.
I don't think we're necessarily quite suggesting going that far.
No, I'm pushing that extremely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pushing that to an extreme because I think it's a lot of the value of this was the people it was being, I'm getting the sense that it was the people that it was being presented to, that it was supposed to resonate with its audience of presumably courtiers because it's criticizing court behavior in very detailed ways. So in order for it to make sense in a modern context, I think whatever you do to it to rearrange it for modernity, it would need to be resonant to its specific audience, not just to modern audiences in general. And, in the same way as this, it feels to me like the text is kind of, it's not being elitist, but it's isolating itself in a particular class and at a particular level of, a station, education, financial means, etc. I wonder how much of an audience you'd get nowadays in trying to do the same, to be very precise in references.
Well, I mean, to a degree, you get the audience you get, it's not a good time to be courting oligarchs at the moment. But in that sense, I think the world of the court is recognisable enough for anyone to understand it. It is a general problem we will have increasingly, actually, and it's something where we almost need a sort of general plan, which is adaptable as case by case basis is increasingly we're going to get plays that are referring more and more to the world of London, the world of the time, not just in terms of what they're referencing, but also the language they're using, that they're going to be an awful lot of words that are current slang that are not current slang anymore. And the question of how to deal with that, how heavily you lean into just letting those words be weird, and so that's going to be a general problem going forward. The further we go into the 17th century, there is going to be a lot more of that kind of stuff, and just be prepared for that, because we need to make decisions, or each production needs to make a decision as to what to do about that. I don't know that this one leans so heavily into that problem. In terms of the stuff that you might want to think about cutting or walking away from, because actually I think a lot of the weirdnesses are just because it's could be explained to an audience today as just that's the court, that's the time, that's the universe it's in. Lean into it and enjoy it, as it were. And Dan is just putting in the chat, yes, this is the later folio. This is the more expansive version of the text. So a compare and contrast exercise with the quarto would be valuable, not just to see what isn't there, but also just to see what textual variations there are in some of the things, because it's not there. They're both reasonably long, but this is the most extreme length version, as it were. Eric, waving.
I'm just wondering, at this time, was this written / performed in the court of Elizabeth? Because it was it seems a bit like, because, Cynthia being sort of / Diana, I'm guessing, being the sort of goddess of, virginity / the hunt / whatever. I mean, they can't exactly insult the queen. It seems a bit sort of far-fetched. Unless it's very sort of, I don't know. I'm just curious about the context in which this would have been performed, because it's kind of interesting.
Old Dan might be able to give you something on that.
No, actually, I was just
going somewhere else.
Sorry, I couldn't. Yeah. No, I think that with anything, that if we really understood the games, how to play them, then I would think that any audience would be able to pick up on who I should be supporting and who I shouldn't be. It's just the problem is that we don't understand the games ourselves, and I don't know who would do the research on this, which is why I made the remark that I'd love to see somebody do research on the specific type of game that was played here. And there is research on games in early modern times. Of course, there's lots of it actually. So that's where I'd possibly want to start, because I like Alexandra, I'm not a fan necessarily of just throwing out the text. And I know we're not saying exactly that, but you kind of almost have to if you really don't understand the games and nobody does the research on how to play the games to present it to an audience, so that one can, I guess, at least follow along with what's happening.
Especially
because otherwise,
the games are most of the second half as well, of whatever usually production we've got. So it's important to that everyone gets it.
Exactly. And so once everyone gets it, we know we know how to characterize the players in it, and then therefore the audience knows who to support and who not to, and then we can keep the text that way.
We can encourage the audience to bet as the games go on, as well. Each bout goes on. I think that's reasonable. We can that gets our sponsorship money sorted. Anyway, Alexandra.
Just to add to Dan's point, I do think that the linguistic games, at least the two linguistic games that we looked at before, they do a good job. The play does a good job of making it clear what the rules are, even though very quickly, so that Asotus doesn't get them, so that you as an audience pick it up as it goes along. So by the time you get to the punchline, you're not surprised, which put me in mind of Don't Bell Me. This is a Tom Stoppard play, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, where there is the game of questions that is not explained, but is made clear as soon as they start playing it, because you understand the rules through their play. So I think if it were possible to do that, with rehearsal and preparation for all the things, then it wouldn't even matter if the things that are the rules or the things that are being done are nonsensical or historical or whatever you like. as an audience, you get engaged in, I understand what's happening now. I can root for people.
Right. Anyway, we are at the end of this session. We have one more session to go on Cynthia's Revels. We will find out more anon. All that remains then is for all those wonderful readers to thank them for their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye to this bright bevy of ladies.